I'll show you this short video, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions from the audience and towards the reception.
It's my life. This is my life. Yes. Stone is my life. There is no way. I think I do. There is not that I do cast some of the pieces in bronze. So the pieces like that. There is when I finish a stone piece, I would make a rubber mold on the stone piece and cast it in bronze, and there will be a addition on the life-size pieces. I do addition of 5, and on the small pieces I do addition of 7. And again, it's with the great respect to the history of sculptures and the way sculpture is done. And so in the slides, you saw several pieces that were in the slides were actually bronzes. Like the piece at the Bath Museum was bronze. The piece in the Rose Garden in the White House was bronze. And it's, you know, so that's one of the things I do. No, but lately I do quite most of them. So I don't. It's basically it's allowed me to have the capacity to have more shows. I also keep one of each of my bronzes for my own collection, that it's allowed me to give it on loans to museums and municipalities for shows without the commercial pressure on it. So it's just for the public to enjoy.
Well, as you promised, you tell the audience about the relationship between the boulders from the street and the workmen, and how all of that inspired you.
So you want to tell you the story. When I started the story, it was that, if you remember, I told you I brought all those boulders into my studio, and my studio was full of the boulders, and I was moving my studio from Soho to Williamsburg. And in Soho, my studio was, although I had a big studio, was with the freight elevator. It was on the 7th floor. So I was working with layers, and I was doing basically the figures where there was no boulder in them. When I moved my studio to Williamsburg, I really thought I made the worst mistake. I filled up my place with maybe 100 tons of boulders, and what happened is, within a few weeks, there was a rainy day, and the heavy equipment operators became very good friend of mine. And so I said, why don't you come and have lunch in my studio to stay out of the rain? And each one of them came up with the lunch boxes and came into the studio. I was building up my working bench. I was just moving in. And each one of the workers kind of find himself a comfortable position next to my boulders, in a very simple way. And it was so amazing to me, because it's remind me of those moments when I walk in nature and there was a certain boulder that was over there, and that's where I wanted to sit. And that's exactly what touched me, is that primal connection. And then it was very clear to me what I'm doing and what I'm doing with the boulders, and I really went to a very long period of time and working and introducing the boulders, the glacier boulder, into my work. So
You never know where those great ideas will come from. Yes?
What kind of glue do you use with stone? What kind of glue did you
Glue.
have? Experimental?
Basically, it's because it's layered and they stack up. There is no tension on it. So it's basically what the glue I use are actually two types of glue. I use epoxies that are hard glue, and I use silicone that's flexible. And the reason it's because when it's in the element, for frost you need a little flexibility, and for expansion, and then for the fact that the layers, because they are natural surface, they actually needed the hard spot of the epoxy glue just to match, so they would be evenly spread the pressure on the layers.
Did I notice some fossils in some of your earlier stonework, or have you etched some of them?
The early work that you see in the first, when you saw the installation, when I graduated art school, there was a moment when I recognized two things. When I was 13, all my friends was asking for bicycles for their present, for their bar mitzvah. What I did ask for was for an African fetish. So the reason I did is because I always felt that there is something that when they were doing pieces, the African did pieces, sculpt pieces, to try to invite spirits into them, and that's something that attracted me. So what I did is that in the early work that you did, although there were curbstones that I took from the streets, and I built those. I work with pieces of wood that I find in the streets, like the woods that supported the trees. So all the materials were from the immediate environment that I was living in, that was Soho at the time. And then the carving was, I remember a wonderful experience be working on restoration of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. When I was in the army, when I had time off, I went to volunteer to restore it, and I worked with the stone carvers, the Palestinian stone carver that work on the restoration. One of the things I saw there is that there were carving on the walls from the 12th century. And there is something about the fact that carving, the fact that everybody came by the area and left a certain mark, that left a certain energy in it. So this carving that you see on it was my exploration to see what happened if I do carving on it. How can I bring a piece of work, that kind of energies that I feel about all those places and those wonderful things that come from the history of the art world.
Anybody else? Yes, a question here?
I work with toothpicks, and every time I see a toothpick on the floor, my heart penetrates. So I'm wondering how you feel when you see stones on the floor. Sure.
I can tell you one thing it is. It's that there is stone everywhere. Everywhere we go, there is stones. And again, to me, every time I see stone in nature, it's keep me humble and remind me it doesn't make no difference how long I'm going to work. There is never a chance, even the closest one, that I'll get closer to what nature can do. Because nature can do it so much better than I. But I hope that I'm inspired by nature enough that I can give it the honor that it's deserved. But stone inspire me. I can pick up stones. There is things, I can see boulders and I remember it and I'll go back to pick it up. And I can tell you stories about when I finished those boulders that I had in my studio, I decided I wanted to go out and get more boulders, and I saw this construction site and there was a pile of them, a real huge pile of boulders. And I went to the site and I said, I really like the boulder. Nobody would talk to me. They said, they just get out of the place, it's a hard head place. So I went out and bought a hard head. And I came back and they wouldn't talk to me. I bought a hard head and a week later I went up, there was a liquor store around the corner from my studio. I bought a case of scotch, 12 years scotch, went to the site and gave all the heavy equipment operator a bottle of scotch and left. Gave them, I said, you guys doing a great job, I love you, and I left. A week later I came over there. As soon as I got in, everybody stopped. How you doing, Boaz? What's going on? I said, listen, I really would love to have those boulders. Suddenly I have no problem. Go on the boulder, bring your truck, or put it on your truck. I developed a wonderful relationship with the heavy equipment operators. And it's one of the things about that it really was quite amazing to me is that by removing a glacier boulder from a construction site, what I recognize is that everything about that move to my studio is positive. I save money to the developer because otherwise they have to pay money to remove it. I pay money to the construction worker because they help me. So it was quite amazing to see that everything throughout the experience was a positive experience. And I always try to do that. In my work, I try to come to my studio from those positive experiences. And this is like, I'm trying to share something about how finding a stone is different, but that's how I relate to it.
Well, I'm trying to keep, we're going to have a reception, you have an opportunity to ask some questions directly. So I thank you for the questions and participation. I want to once again thank the people that really helped tonight. Jane Eckert, the New York Observer, Sunlight Financial, Richard Fridgewell, and Mark Kowski, who really helped me get this done. Thank you very much.